your life would be so much easier. It would get so much better if you were less willing to tolerate negative emotions, because negative emotions is your indication that something has gone wrong, right? It's your indication that there's some type of bump in your vibration that you need to work through. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Juditha, and on this channel we talk about all things mindset. We talk about your goals, your dreams, your insecurities, your fears, like all the things that are going into creating your dream life, because I'm experiencing the same thing. And on this channel, I just like to give you all the tips and tricks that are working to help me ultimately just create the life that I want, right? Not the life that I think I have to have. Today, like I already said, we're going to talk about how to use your emotions as a guidance system. And this video was inspired because I saw a quote that said, life would be so much better if we weren't willing to tolerate so much negative emotions. This only works, like using your emotions to create your dream life is only going to work if you're emotionally aware. So how do you become emotionally aware? The first thing is, you take responsibility for your emotions, right? When you feel annoyed, when you feel triggered, when you feel pissed off, don't automatically make it mean that there was something outside of you and it's that thing's fault, right? Or that person's fault for why you feel the way you feel. Always try to take responsibility for how you feel. If you are in a relationship with somebody and they do something that annoys you or pisses you off, something that I would challenge you to do is to look at yourself and be like, well, why did this trigger me? Why did this bother me? Why did this annoy me? Right? Because at the end of the day, you are choosing to be annoyed. Even if that person is annoying, you always have a choice in how you feel. When obstacles come up and you're dealing with things that would usually make you stress, you get to choose how you want to feel about it, right? But you have to train yourself to become the type of person that chooses how you want to feel. Okay, so that's step one, become emotionally aware. And once you can become emotionally aware, then step two is use your emotions to be a compass that is guiding you towards your dream life. Okay, so the more things that you do that make you feel good, keep doing those things, and the things that you are doing that make you feel bad, stop doing those things. So why do we tolerate emotions like fear, sadness, stress, even though we know they're holding us back? The reason is because we have become used to how we react to things, right? Our brains are wired to, we have a negativity bias, right, in your brain, which means you are wired to be negative before you're positive. Like that is just your brain's default automatic response. And we have that response because back when we were living in caves, like we needed our brains to protect us in this way. We needed our brains to think about what could go wrong, why things aren't working. Like we needed our brains to be able to feel those negative emotions in order for us to make choices that keep us safe, right? But today, the problem with having that mindset, with having that state of like fight or flight, is that our modern day problems aren't as severe as the problems that we probably faced when we lived in caves, right? The only things that we really have to fear is our comfort zone. The reason why negative emotions are able to hold us back is because when you become used to being stressed, when you become used to being worried, your brain is literally wiring together a network of neurons, and those neurons are memorizing who you are, and it's memorizing who you're becoming every time you think a thought and every time you feel a feeling. So if your normal response to not having enough money, for example, is to stress about it, you have wired a connection in your brain and you have told your brain that this is who I am. I am someone that gets stressed out when I think about money, when I check my account, when I think about bills. You become wired to become that person, and then that is now your comfort zone. Even though stress is not comfortable, it becomes your comfort zone, right? If you are somebody who the thought of the unknown, the thought of stepping out of what you've always done, like if you want to pursue a new career, a new business, you've already wired yourself to be the type of person who doesn't have a business. Like your neurons right now are set up to be who you are right now. And so when you step out and you say, I want to start a business or I want to be this new person, you have to then start to wire in these new neurons of the person that you want to become. But before you become that new person, your identity, like the old version of you, is the reason why you are willing to keep putting up with emotions and feelings and situations that don't feel good. That's what keeps us stuck, is that you are just so used to being in chaos. You're so used to dealing with people who make you feel crazy. You're so used to feeling unworthy, unloved, undeserving, unlucky. Like you can just become someone who is so used to these things that you don't even recognize that you're sabotaging your life. Like when good things try to come into your life, because your brain is wired to be negative, is wired to crave stress, you will question when life starts to feel good. Like, you won't believe it. Like, when you're so used to being with people who make you feel unworthy, you will question the person who comes into your life and makes you feel fulfilled, makes you feel like you are more than worthy, more than deserving, right? So it's all a matter of your brain, right? It's all a matter of what you've become used to based on what you've been accepting, based on what you've been thinking, based on the person that you've been defining yourself as up until this point. That's why it's so easy for you to keep accepting chaos. It's because you're used to it, right? Even when you don't love it. So the way that you use your emotions to guide you to help you create your dream life is this. You sit down and you think about, well, what do I want my life to look like? Like, what do I want my life to feel like? And you have to get really clear on that. And that's where your emotions come in. When you think about what do I want my life to look like, you want to think about, well, what do I want to feel like? Like, do I want to feel fulfilled? Do I want to feel happy? Do I want to feel like there's always enough? Do I want to feel abundant? Because if those are the feelings that you want to feel in the life that you want to create, like when you think about your dream life, and you think about, these are the feelings that I want to feel when I get there, your job is to be able to feel those feelings right now. Your job is to take steps, take action, to make decisions that help you feel those feelings right now. And that is how you use your emotions to create your dream life. Because if I feel good, then I know something is going right and I'm making decisions that are in alignment with the bigger vision that I see for myself. I don't want to wait until I get to where I want to be to feel good. I don't want to wait until I get to where I want to be to feel successful, to feel abundant, to feel just fulfilled. Like, I can feel those things now. And the way how I do that is by making tiny decisions now that help me to invoke and feel those emotions ahead of time, because that is how you manifest things faster. If you're able to feel abundant now, if you're able to feel stress-free now, if you're able to have faith and trust in the journey now, as life evolves and as you go and as you journey into the things that you want to do, it'll just be so much easier for you to feel those feelings in the future if you can feel them now. You might be thinking, okay, but what if I do things that do make me feel good in the moment, but those things aren't actually in service to my bigger goal? This might be an extreme example, but let's say you like to drink alcohol, right? And you do it because you feel good, right? So in your head, you might be thinking, well, if it makes me feel good, I must be headed in the right direction. But the one thing I want you to keep in mind is, when you are determining what makes you feel good, you also have to factor in this one universal law, right? And this law is that anything that you decide to do should not harm you and it should not harm others, right? So when I say follow what makes you feel good, as long as what makes you feel good is not harming you and not harming anybody else, then you're headed in the right direction, right? Nothing has gone wrong here, right? But if the things that make you feel good are like drugs, alcohol, your bad habits, watching TV, watching Netflix when you should be doing things, like those things do make you feel good in the moment. But overall, in the long run, you have to think about, like, is this actually good for me in the long run? Like, if I know I want to be creating this business, every time I choose Netflix over creating this business, that is not in service to my future. It's not in service to who I want to become, right? So that's another way to navigate what makes you feel good and what's actually going to be good for you in the long run. Really think about this, because a lot of us get stuck in lives, in situations that we don't love, that don't make us feel good, because we are so willing to put up with negative emotions. But the point of this video is that I want you to become someone who is less willing to feel negative emotions, because you don't have to. Yes, life will be filled with ups and downs. Like, there will be moments where you feel happy and there will be moments where you don't. But in those moments when you don't feel good, recognize that it's temporary. It's a fleeting thing. In the next moment, you can choose to feel better. You don't have to keep choosing to feel stressed. You don't have to keep choosing to feel bad. You get to choose to feel better. Specifically, like when it comes to like the people in your life, if there's anybody in your life who doesn't make you feel good, who makes you feel unworthy, undeserving, even if it's like your partner, someone that you love, if you are less willing to accept people treating you like shit at the job you have, if you are less willing to accept the negative emotions you feel from the choices that you've been making, right? From the people that you've been letting into your life, like, be less willing to feel negative emotions. And when you are less willing to accept negative emotions and to feel negative emotions, you'll start making better decisions, because you'll recognize that I want to feel good. And in order for me to feel good, I have to be someone who's making decisions that are gonna, in the long term, help me feel good and help me create the future that I say that I want. So if you're looking for a sign to let go of things that aren't serving you, this is it. Okay, be less willing to experience negative emotions. Be less willing to accept things that don't fulfill you, because when you are less willing to accept those things, you are opening the door in your brain and in your reality to bring in the things that you actually deserve and that you actually do want. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you aren't already, make sure that you subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.